Hey Joshua, thought I'd send this PowerPoint presentation along just to give you an idea of what I was thinking about talking about during our one-on-one session, which is transformations of functions. I got a little bit of one going on the blackboard, and you can see it is a quadratic function that has a couple of translations, otherwise known as shifts, where it shifts to the right or to the shifts upward from its parent function. The parent function would start at 0, 0 and move up in each direction from there. So let's take a closer look at that. There are a few key elements about transformations that I want to talk about. One is the shifts that occur both up and down. That's seen with this constant that's being added or subtracted, or a horizontal shift that happens here inside the bracket with the x. This is to do with quadratics. But we're going to see how transformations affect in a number of different ways. So what we call these are functional transformations. So it applies to a number of different fractions. My comics mathematics shows that here are some of our parent functions: the quadratic function, the absolute function, the linear, the exponential, the sinusoidal. And they're talking about these are all the parents, and they grow up. So here's the absolute parent function and sees the child grow up and transform. The child is reflected over the x-axis. Perhaps there's a bit of a stretch, hard to tell, sometimes with graphs, but certainly a shift down has occurred, so a translation down of however many units, and a reflection over the x-axis. And we'll be talking about that. But first I want to talk about where you'd see these. So here's a few examples of linear functions and real-world scenario applications, whether you're comparing or designing different architecture. It's just a different straight line than its original parent function. Quadratic functions, you can see the parabola can be reflected or it can be stretched, which means it sort of widens. And in exponential functions, we've seen a lot in the last 18 months with COVID, and you can see a lot of these used in real-world scenarios. And they all are slightly different than, they're all quite different from the parent function. And how do we tell when a graph changes? So I'm sure a lot of this you are familiar with, but it's just looking at it through a different lens. So your parent function is y equals x, or f of x equals x, and that would be that straight line with a rise of 1 and a run of 1. So a rise of 1, a run of 1, and it won't go up or down from the x-axis, so it would cross through the origin. That would be the parent function. But as you know, linear functions can change, and we understand it through the linear equation of y equals mx plus b. But in looking at it using a different lens, this is where we're going to start talking about a vertical stretch, and in linear equations that's represented by the slope, and the vertical shift, which we can see by the change in the y-intercept. If it moves up, it's because the entire line moves up. If it moves down, it's because the entire line moves down. And the reflection that occurs is using the negative. So we're going to see this. I'm going to move right into quadratics, and this is where we see the parent function, which is y equals x squared, where no transformations have occurred. But if I add something to it, if I simply add like a negative 3, then this entire thing is going to move down 3 units, and that changes the vertex. And if it was, if the x-axis was here, then perhaps it's moved down 3 units. Now, graphing can be tricky. I mean, linear graphs are clearly a little bit easier, but when we get into quadratic graphing, it can be a little trickier, and especially when a lot of things take place. If there's an example like 3x squares, then this parabola, even though it might start at the origin because no shifts, no translations it doesn't shift to the right, it doesn't shift up or down, no translations or shifts occur, but there is a stretch that occurs. And so this would make it very, very thin. So when I have 1 squared, which is still 1, but instead of being just 1 like it would in a parent function, it's going to be 1 times 3. So that 1 is going to be right here. It's already starting to be a lot more tall or thin, narrow, if you will. And if it was, for example, a different function, like 1 over 4x squared, then this would be a lot wider. And we can look at some examples here. For example, we've got the difference in green of the 4x squared versus the 1/4. And you can see that this would be when y has a value of 1, x has a value of 4. But in terms of making it easier for graphing, and this is one of the key pieces I wanted to mention, is parent function, you can think of it as 0, 0, and then 1 squared and negative 1 squared are going to give you the same thing of 1. 2 squared and negative 2 squared are going to give you the same thing as 4. 3 squared and negative 3 squared are going to give you the same thing of 9. And so this is what, in this particular graph, the way it's laid out, this is what the parent function would look like. And so when shifts occur, and this is not as complex as stretches, but when just a shift occurs, like a translation, whether it's vertical or horizontal, like if I bring it down 3 units, then that vertex is still going to be there. And because it hasn't stretched, it hasn't compressed, it's not wider or narrower, then I can still use those same points of 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. But clearly they're not going to be in the same spot. Each of those points has moved down 3. And so that's just one thing. And maybe you have a strong understanding of this, and it was just a simple goof, and that's another reason why I was thinking about having a one-on-one session, so we could just have a conversation about it. But yeah, this is good to know, and it applies not just for quadratic, not just for linear. When we get into exponential functions, you'll see the same thing, that the a in front, the constant in front, is the vertical stretch or compression. If when we're talking about exponential functions, we're talking about that key point. Remember those from logarithmic and exponential, that we talked about those in finding that key point, and that's the thing that shifts. And then we have the rest of the function, what it looks like, and if it gets reflected or stretched or shifts up or down. And all of that's just a different way of looking at it, instead of using a table of values always. I'm not sure how you approach graphs. That's another reason why conversations are great on one-on-one sessions, however long or short they are. By no means am I, this may be all familiar to you, but it doesn't hurt to have it included. And it just shows you, whether it's exponential, logarithmic, you can look through the PowerPoint in your own time if you so desire. I'm going to include it as well as this recording. And yeah, even when we get into trigonometry, if we get into sinusoidal functions, which is an extension of trigonometry, you'll see that graphing them has similarities. Slightly different words. We start to use A, B, C, D instead of the A, B, H, K. But the horizontal shift is referred to as the phasal shift. Amplitude is the vertical stretch, and the period is what we talk about when we talk about the horizontal stretch. So how much the horizontal distance it covers for one period. So I hope this video has helped a little bit in terms of just looking at graphs through a different lens, and understanding that, again, happy to answer in video if that's the method or medium that you'd like to experience. And if you have any questions or want any comments further, feel free to ask. Have a great weekend.